My name's Kristian Battell. I'm an artist. I work here at the museum teaching classes to all ages. Printmaking is one of my specialties, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do this Tetra Pak process, which is basically turning this here milk carton into a non-toxic etching. The first things I'm going to need are my cutting tools. So I'm just have a pair of scissors. You can also use an X-Acto knife. I'm just going to open this up. First part is just preparing your plate. My personal art practice, I use all recycling to create sculptures and installations of like caves, stalagmites, stalactites, and new earth forms. And it's all, like plastic water bottles and newspapers. Paper mache, I just use wheat paste, so it's also kind of renewable in a way. They might just melt one day, all my sculptures, who knows? But that's what's fun about it to me, is like, I don't know, I like to let chance happen when it comes to making art, which is not something a lot of people like to do. Like, I don't know, they might literally just fall apart one day. They're made out of garbage. All right, there we go. I cut the top part off. We don't want any of like that hard plastic on there. You won't be able to work with that. And then just open up the bottom there. And then I usually cut along that seam there. And that's it. So now I'm ready to start working on the actual etching part. I have two different scribes here. I have a whole bunch of different tools, but different line weights. You could just choose whatever you want to work with. I like this one because it's got a nice grippy part. Not sure if I want to go this way or this way. I'm going to go this way. And you're just going to draw straight onto your plate here. You can have an image that you want before, and you can like kind of use tracing paper to get it on there, but I just go straight onto the plate. It's very easy to etch into. You just go right on it. It's like you're carving through a little bit of paper, basically. So I'm going for a cave with stalagmites and stalactites. Of course, so just gonna go for a lot of detail. Try to fill in the cave. The more detail, the better on these kinds of things. Right, it's looking like a cave. We're gonna do like one more layer, and then I'm gonna peel that inner part out, and it's gonna, like, that area is gonna hold a lot of ink, so it'll be like solid dark looking all the way back into the cave. All my sculptures and installations are made out of recycling, cardboard, plastic, newspapers. I just use it all and create new earth forms. So I'm just kind of using my scribe to go underneath and peel off this silver layer. And I want to expose that plain paper underneath. And everywhere that I etched, it should just like follow that line. It's really hard to like achieve a solid dark area in etchings without using chemicals. So this is like such a quick and easy way to do that without that whole process. Like a rosin box and putting it in the acid and waiting a long time. That's what I really like about it, is that it's totally non-toxic. You don't have to use any chemicals, and that is really important to me in my art practice, because Nobody wants to be working around chemicals and that kind of bad stuff. And you know, it's a recyclable thing, so I'm kind of renewing it, giving it a new life, and that's also a very important thing to me and my art practice. Cool. I like how this is looking though. Nice. I made a little bit of a blue there. So now I'm gonna go in with like my lines. I do lines a lot. Maybe I were to leave those ones blank. No, I'm gonna do lines.
Maybe morbid to ask, but are the fires in California like inspiration and all?
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't want to do, I was, the only thing I could think of today was to do something about the fires, because yesterday I made a painting about it, and then I was doing some like collage work last night. But I think I'm going to do like a whole series of paintings about these fires. Because I used to do a lot of stuff that was like architectural looking and then with nature and whatever in it. And I've been wanting to bring back that intervention of like the human touch and nature taking over. So I was like, all right, this is kind of the perfect opportunity to represent those two things. And yeah, it is inspiring in a very upsetting way. But I'm excited to make the work about that because it's very relevant and somebody's got to say something. I mean, everybody's saying something, but sometimes it takes an artist making something for some people to understand that it's important. One thing I like about these plates is that like they're so malleable and you can actually just kind of like crunch them up to get a texture on them. So like any of that kind of texture there will come through when I ink it, but I kind of want to like do that on purpose to some parts of it, especially down in this area. So I'm just gonna mess with it. Some people will be like, why are you ruining your plate? I like to do this kind of stuff. Yesterday when I was painting, I just like put a bunch of paint on my hands. That's how you make smoke. You can't paint it with a paintbrush, just with your hands. I consider myself more of like an abstract expressionist, like Jackson Pollock type. Like I don't like to use a paintbrush. I just kind of throw it around a bit. All right, let's print it. Let's do it. I'm ready. Here comes the fun, messy part. So now I'm gonna need these three things and my ink. Let me put on some gloves first. The ink I'm using is also a non-toxic ink. It's soy-based, just washes up with water, which is great, unlike the oil-based stuff. Forgot a palette knife. So ink up your cardboard and then just start wiping it in. The areas where I pulled it all out from are going to hold a lot of ink, but everywhere else where it's still silver, that's not really gonna hold. It's just gonna go right into the areas that I was drawing. Just want to make sure you're actually applying some pressure and getting it down into those grooves. Toothbrush. Sometimes I'll hold it down with one of these, and then I'll just start going in a circular motion. I went to SUNY Purchase for undergrad and I studied printmaking there. And then I went to SVA for my master's, and that's where I started doing the sculptural stuff. I'm just gonna go over the whole thing one more time. The brush is also gonna take up some of the extra ink. Okay. Now, this part. It can be a little bit tricky, especially when you first start doing this kind of process. You're gonna have paper in both hands. You wanna hold it with your pinky and your thumb, and then you're gonna have one holding your plate while the other one is wiping. This part's very satisfying when you finally see all your drawings come through. Definitely need to be patient for this process. Okay, now I'm ready. Perfect. Oh, I'm just blotting the paper. Because you want it to be wet, but not like shiny wet. And it's a paper made specifically for doing that. I think it's made with like cotton. Pretty cool. Yay!
Should you walk that back over? Where should people find your art?
Like in real life?
Yeah, in real life.
Well, I got my studio over at Mana Contemporary, and I've got a website, kristianbattellstudio.com. And yeah, one of my installations is up at Mana right now, so come see it until the 23rd, I think. Maybe one day there'll be a solo show of me here. Who knows?